Good evening once again, Monadnock region. We are, of course, back in the Space Lounge after our wonderful conversation with artist Brandy Patterson. And here I am joined by my co-hosts.
Zoe Rotenheinsman.
And Sam Abbott.
And I'm your host, Chris DiLoretto, once more. And of course, we're doing this a little different this time. This is the second part of our episode. Every time prior to now, when we've had a guest, we've put them last. And I just was thinking to myself, like, I don't know if that's right, especially since we really wanted to promote Brandy's event with her husband, our sound lord, Chad Patterson, at the Peterborough Town Library at her standing exhibit, accompanied by Chad's music, Friday night. So this episode, we're recording this on Holy Thursday, April 14th at 10 p.m. And we intend for this episode to be out at least within 7 days. So you should have at least a 1 day warning before committing, which you should do, to going to this event on Friday, April 22nd in the library in the evening. So, but with that being said, we did want to gather after that delightful conversation to circle back. We've got some updates on a couple of stories that we have covered in the past. Now, this week, our top story in the Monadnock region, I don't know if anybody was anticipating this week. I didn't see any like preliminary articles leading up to this, but as regular listeners have known, I have been a big proponent of the hashtag Free Britney movement. Not Britney like Britney Spears, but Britany. Brittany Barron, our own local unwilling murder accomplice, who is being. Just the facts, sir.
Nicely put, though. I got to give
Yes,
him a credit there.
she has. But in all seriousness, she's been in jail, pre-trial, up north, and she is being freed on parole. Brittany Barron, for those of you guys don't know, really tragic, awful story. Happened down the street from one of my favorite places, Cathedral of the Pines, Annette State Park, which I can't bring myself to go to after this terrible story. It was the fall of 2020, or late summer, technically, I guess. I don't think it was quite the fall yet, but Brittany Barron's husband, whose name is escaping me from. I have the article right here. It's Armando or
Is Armando?
Armando. It is Armando. For some reason, it didn't sound right. Armando discovered she was having an affair with a coworker, used her phone to lure the coworker to Annette State Park in the middle of the night, brutally beat his wife, brutally beat the guy, ordered his wife to kill the guy. She refused to do it. He ends up killing the guy. And at his command, she helped him dismember the body and hide it in a campsite where she stood guard on it up north, at which time she was found and arrested, and he was arrested as well. Look, just personally, I feel like she's a victim. I don't think she should have been locked up, but they did. They went hard at her. They charged her with, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 different charges between misdemeanors and felonies. It basically amounted to, hiding a body, abetting a murder, like that, those kind of charges. And again, I'm like, what choice do you have at that point? Like, I mean, this guy is a dangerous person. I think pretty clearly. And I just don't blame someone for trying to keep their life. And I don't think that they should be jailed for that. So she made a plea deal with prosecutors. She pled guilty in the fall. I think that's around the time that we probably discussed this. And she pled guilty to a couple of the charges. She got like a reduced sentence of like something like 6.5 years with 2 years suspended, something like that. And
I think she pled guilty to 3 counts of falsifying evidence.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And so that carried. So yes. Oh, that's right. So the sentence was 3.5 to 7 years in state prison, with 2 of those years suspended on the condition of good behavior. Now, because she's been in jail now for over a year in pretrial confinement, and plus the suspended sentence under New Hampshire guidelines, she's eligible for parole. Because she is cooperating in the case against her husband, which has yet to go forward, the prosecutors are saying, give her the parole. Let her out. She's in a halfway house now. she'll be released very soon with an ankle bracelet for 90 days, and then she's on parole, I think, for the remainder of the sentence is usually how that goes. But
Okay. But
she's
she's free from.
she's a free woman as long as she doesn't commit any other crimes, and I think that's good. And I don't know how she can possibly like move on with her life, and I think she seems to feel that way as well. She's very contrite. She has extreme regret about this, but I hope that she can, because it's a terrible, terrible story. I just don't think it was her fault, and a lot of people want to blame her, and it bothers me that people are so cruel and like throw the book at people. Like, yeah, like the whole situation's awful, but I just think that she's a victim, and I just don't agree. And I'm glad she's free. So congratulations, Brittany, on the parole. I really wish you well. I hope that you can get past this. And, you know,
Here,
that's all
here.
there is to it. But we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of murder stories around here, and we try to talk about them every time we have them, like any good local news source. You got to play up the murders. And so we have, we, kind of had to circle back on that. It's sort of important. But of course, the other thing that we want to talk about, not to be, we've gone outside. Of course, this happened on the Jaffrey Ringe line. We've gone outside of Peterborough for 6 minutes or so of the program for once. Now we're coming back, coming back to the imperial center of the region, and because we've had some responses to our initial political coverage, mainly our coverage of the town meeting deliberative session. And I just want to say, to open the discussion, that we titled this episode, that episode, our prior episode 23, the most important $30,000 that you've never heard of. And the response to the episode has only underscored the fact that this is apparently in the $13 million budget. This is the most important $30,000 that's in there. It's so important that we might just have to hold a debate just about this subject somehow. I don't know, listeners, because we know you're out there because you're responding to these things. If you're really interested in seeing something like that, please let us know and we'll make it happen. If there's actually interest in like devoting time to a debate on this particular thing, let's do it. But I don't know. What tell us, Zoe, about what happened.
Yeah, would this be would this be part of our candidates debate that we are?
I don't want to necessarily take away from the candidates. That's kind of why I want people to weigh in on it, because I think it'll require a separate event. Maybe we just do it online. Maybe we do it at the library. I don't know. I'm kind of open to whatever, but if people are really demanding, truly, again, I'm not convinced it needs to happen because it's $30,000 and now it's $15,000. Actually, let's be clear. It's become only $15,000. It's not even 30 anymore. I'm not sure that's worth a debate, but if the people want a debate on $15,000, by God, we are here to provide it.
That's right. So,
in the spirit of our founding fathers. Go ahead.
The discussion that's going on Facebook right now, between several notable Peterboroughians, is about, let's see, some of the facts of this situation. You may have read all of those. I don't know if I read all of them. I got the ones that were on the Go Monadnock, which were like, we did learn that it's Mandy Sliver. That's important.
Yes, a couple of people chimed in. Thank you for the help on that. We really didn't know, and Mandy might be a little bit slower to listen to the program, and so she didn't correct us herself. But it is Sliver, not Sliver. And it's definitely not silver, but apparently some people say sliver. We didn't make that mistake. We just were unsure if it was sliver or sliver, because sliver is a word, S-L-I-V-E-R. I mean, it wasn't, I don't think we were out of line or anything, but we were corrected to say that it's in fact sliver for sure. So glad we've accomplished that.
Yes, but also alongside that correction were some other comments about the Economic Development Authority and the history of this money and this group. And it is, I think it was Selectman Bill Kennedy, who posted a link or at least a reference to a select board set of meeting minutes from exactly a year ago, from April 2021, that has a breakdown of what the impact has been of this money given to Drum Production Studio to do these Facebook posts for the town. To make these not just Facebook posts, that minimizes it, right? So it's like
there's video
multiple social
production
media
involved.
posts, videos, like really cool videos. Weren't you in
They're
one?
nice videos. No, they are. They're very good videos.
Yeah. Didn't you get featured in one?
I wasn't in a video. I got a post.
You got a post. Okay.
Maybe they should have given me a video, and I would have been a more vocal supporter. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Maybe so.
I am corruptible, but I'm not. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
But
I already said I'm probably voting for the 15K. So
it is. Before I get into some of the details of what is in this packet, it is really interesting to me, and I think this was brought up at the meeting, and it just didn't like click until I read it. But the town, yes, Gene Deach actually did mention this, and I had completely forgotten it. The town actually voted to up the money. Like when the EDA initially went to the town at the 2016 town meeting, they asked for $48,000, and there was an amendment to bring it up to $70,000.
They were in the mood to spend that year, I guess.
They were in the mood to spend, and I just find that so interesting. Like, a lot has changed since 2016, I guess.
A lot.
I guess. Like, I can't tell. But that's an interesting one, right? Where the town is like chomping at the bit, like, let's do this, let's make these posts, like give them more money, rock on. And that was a 5-year funding commitment. Not $70,000 a year, but $70,000 for the 5 years, which is about to expire. Or no, it did expire last summer. So
that's about this. Okay, so that's, I'm not, math isn't my greatest strong point, but that is about 15K a year, right?
Yeah.
A little less, yeah. Right.
Slightly less, but so it's not like it's going up or anything. Like this is really just to sort of continue what's been going on. And of course, because it's a new deal, let's just be clear. We understand before somebody corrects us that it doesn't automatically go to Drum. It goes out to bid, because it's a new contract.
I'm not sure that I would love to be corrected on this. So if folks are listening who have better info, I'm not sure it did ever go out to bid.
Ooh, could be opening a can of worms there.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it says here, in August 2018, the EDA advised that the town contract with the locally based 2-person company Drum Inc.
Interesting. And who knows? It's possible that because somebody in the meeting cited a $10,000 threshold after, if your contract is over 10,000, then it's got to go up to bid. It's entirely possible that that's a rule that didn't exist 6 years ago. I really don't know. It sounds like a state law to me. But I don't know. I don't know that.
I'm just reading what's in the report. I'm not totally sure the details either. But there were a lot of calls for metrics, proof, examples that
key performance indicators
that this money was being spent well. And that was kind of the reasoning behind cutting it down to 15 from the initial $30,000 ask, was so that they could do a year and come back with some numbers. Well, as Selectman Bill Kennedy pointed out, there already are numbers because they have 5 years worth of numbers. And so we can take a look at some of them here. The main focus in terms of actual numbers that you can get a grip on are about social media impressions. And I guess this is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter that they're pulling these impressions from. And they break it down quarterly. So I don't see exactly how many posts. I think what was it, like 8 posts a week? Is that
Oh
what
no,
the
I thought it was like a post every 2 weeks or something.
one post every 2 weeks?
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Okay.
I could be totally wrong. I
I
don't
don't
think
know
it.
why I have the number 8 in my head. That could be made up.
I don't think it's 8 every week for sure.
Okay.
I don't think it was more than one per week. I think it was. I
Okay.
think it was supposed to be like a couple a month or something like that.
All right. So like the highest impressions per quarter was in 2019 Q4, where they got 69,000 or so organic impressions with another 122,000 paid impressions.
It's probably the
So
month that I was featured. I'm guessing.
probably.
Just kidding. I don't think that's true.
But they
Just
range, the
teasing.
impressions range from about 87,000 to 192,000 during that time. And so this is like, yeah, hashtags and posting stuff on the social media platforms, the hashtags, like, I don't know why I'm reading that off of the page. Like I don't even know if they're necessarily special hashtags for Peterborough, but that's how many
Well,
people's
there
eyeballs.
are actually no, there are like on Instagram, hashtag Peterborough NH is something that I actually follow, and a lot of people do. And I think people have followed me from. I used to do it. I kind of stopped doing it because I'm lazy and I don't hashtag anything anymore. But when I was hashtagging pictures of my own on my personal Instagram and tagging it like Peterborough NH, I would get a lot of randos seeing them
Oh,
and
okay.
sometimes following me actually.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it
and
is
you
a
know what?
thing. It is a real thing. Yeah.
I've seen the hashtag faces of Peterborough and the hashtag secrets of Peterborough, and those are EDA hashtags.
Nice.
So, and they also look at who drives traffic onto the town of Peterborough's website. And social, like, over 90% of referrals during this time period seems to have come from social media, from Facebook in particular, onto peterborough.nh.gov. And then there's also the
Yeah, and
Peterborough
actually, I want to
Works.
point out that's particularly interesting because I don't think that they were posting like dispatches and shit like that necessarily yet on their Facebook page. So it probably
Oh,
is really truly all from like EDA posts. Because you remember
were they
during
not doing
COVID is
that in
when they
2020?
I think the dispatch started with COVID. I think it was like the every 2 weeks, like the town of Peterborough is giving you a dispatch to let you know what's going on, like because we're in a lockdown. Like that's how
Okay.
that started, I think.
Well, good point, because this actually does specify that 90% figure is from September through December 2020. So that might be included in that figure.
Probably is. It probably is. Yep.
And that's the only time span that they give the web referrals for. And then they have a section called anecdotes, and this goes into a little more detail from what that business owner Megan Swoko, who spoke at the deliberative session about moving to town because of the EDA's posts that she viewed and how she knows other people
Which
who you.
I probably questionably so, but I just want to say in a way because I can't really say anything because there's no person that I can actually quote on this subject, but I know that there are people that disagree with her account about why she moved here. And that's all I will say about that. She seems like a very lovely person who went to high school a couple towns away from me around the same time that I was in high school. I might have crossed paths with her in life. So no disparagement intended, but I just know that there are some people that disagree with the certain characterizations there. But go on, please.
Okay. But she had alluded to knowing, I think, up to 6 other businesses who had moved to town because of the EDA's posts, and there are 2 more that are mentioned in this 2021 report. One of them being the owners who have recently renovated and taken over Cranberry Meadow Farm and Inn, and the other one being
Really? Huh.
being Dan Petrone, the real estate magnate. What's the right noun there?
Magnet. Yeah. Magnet.
So that's in their anecdote section.
Well, as the kids would say, like big if true, like Cranberry Meadow Farm and Dan Patron are both huge enterprises in the community. In a sense, I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like by our scale and standards, like I think that the opening of Cranberry Meadow Farm as like a little kind of resort-ish type space is a rather big addition to the town. Especially since we don't have a lot of lodging, and they seem to be doing something rather nice. I don't know. I once disparaged what they were doing and got a lot of hate for it, so I'm very careful about that. I just want to say I've been convinced by many people that the Cranberry Meadow Farm people are benevolent. So
what
that's
did you
why I'm talking.
disparage? We don't have to
I
go
don't
into
want to
it if
get
you don't
into
want
it.
to.
I
All
don't
right,
want.
all
I
right.
already got shit for it, and I'm not
Did you
going to eat
think
shit
they
for
were
it
growing
again.
cranberries and you got schooled?
It wasn't that. It wasn't
Okay.
that. So I'm not going to say anything bad. I think that they're very nice, and I'm appreciative that they're bringing this business to town. And Dan Patron is Sam's got a Bean Group fleece on. Dan's a Bean Group, another Bean Group guy. I think fairly well known. Does he still have the billboard up? I think he's got the
No,
billboard up on Temple Mountain. No, it's
no,
down.
it's been
Did it
down.
get taken over by the abortion people?
That was only after it got taken over by Ben Sugar Shack. Maple
Oh, okay.
Tours.
The
Yeah,
syrup magnet. The
yeah.
syrup
I mean, you want to
magnet.
talk about a magnet? No, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's the don't abort your baby. They took over all of them, almost nearly. Three.
Dan, put up another billboard. Get that out of there. But all right, look, like again, I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly not calling anybody a liar. That I just think that a reasonable person would doubt both of those stories.
I do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to call anybody a liar. I think it's big if true. I don't doubt that these people may have said something along those lines, or that maybe it contributed to it. I find it super hard to believe that social media posts are truly what is making people's decisions in life to like open huge businesses here. I don't know. Maybe that is how people think about these things. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying we can't really. We have there's testimony. There's anecdotal testimony. Again, I'm not calling anybody a liar. Maybe it's true and it's big. In any case, I believe, and I said this last week, I believe that I think that a reasonable person could take either position on this issue. And I think that reasonable people have taken both sides on this issue. I don't think it's an issue to get really mad at people about personally, because again, the penny wise and pound foolish people, even if we hate this and don't want to pass it, are right in the sense that in a $13 million budget, $15,000 is pennies. It really is. It's pennies. We're talking about pennies. There's almost no consequence negatively if we spent $15K on social media marketing. But there's another side. And let me just say, this was not on the Peterborough page, but on our post of it. So Carol Nelson is said, notable resident, has pointed out first, says, FYI, Jean resigned from the EDA in March when the budget committee and select board originally voted on this. So in other words, making the point that Jean Deach, who in the deliberative session was speaking very forcefully on behalf of the EDA, is actually no longer on the EDA. So maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. But all I want to do is relay the facts that have been. I want to relay the things that have been passed along to us without passing judgment on them. So I'm just pointing that out. I want our listeners to have all the facts that they have. And then Carol goes on to say, and just to be clear, Danica, who is our town planner, Danica Malone, I like Danica, suggested back in October of 2021 that her department could absorb the tasks of running the Peterborough Works website, which they are currently doing, and also the social media posts. She didn't offer to do it herself, although she does have a marketing background, but there are skilled, knowledgeable, and willing people in her department ready to step up and take over if necessary. And I think, I don't know for sure, Carol can probably confirm, I'm guessing that she made that comment in response to something that I said, which was that I think I said this from a management perspective, that it's important when we look at people who have jobs and they have tasks and they have descriptions, that people who have jobs, we should never assume that they have a bunch of downtime with which we can fill with additional tasks. I think that's wrong from both a management perspective and from like a labor perspective, right? But so her comment is in counter to that, which is to say that it's not unfair to Danica to suggest that Danica and her people could do this because Danica herself has offered this, that's a fair counterpoint. Okay, so I wasn't aware that Danica said that, and I will say I don't think he would mind me saying this. Bill Taylor has said privately to me the same thing, which is that they have said that they're willing and able to do it, which I don't think was effectively communicated in the meeting. So that's good to know. Now, select person Bill Kennedy responds directly to Carol in saying, and this was not Carol did not respond to this, but Bill says, a question: Carol Nelson, do you plan to hold Danica to the same scrutiny as you have done to the EDA? Do you plan to assess what work her department has done or plans to do on behalf of the EDA? Since this seems to be important to you, perhaps you should join the EDA marketing team. So that's the extent of the exchange there. And it is an interesting question. If we have town staff do it, will they have the same scrutiny? Should they have the same scrutiny, in the sense that there's not necessarily an extra spend if town staff are doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like in the case of if a contract goes out to Drum or anybody else, we're paying $15K and we want to know if we're getting something on the $15K. Whereas if we're not spending the $15K and it's just absorbed by town staff, there's less pressure to get a return on that. And I think if people feel that way, it's a little bit rational, I think. And then the counterpoint, of course, I'm playing devil's advocate here, is to say that perhaps then you could argue that there is a return that we would get on the $15K that we would not get if the town staff were doing the job, either because of the more stringent expectations or some other factor. I don't know. Like I said, very fine people on both sides here, guys. It's very interesting. Again, if our listeners want us to actually have both sides on to foster more discussion about this before the vote, we can do it. We can figure it out if there's enough demand for this. So please, if you want this, make your case and make it loudly and get your friends to do it too, because if there's enough noise, we'll do it. I'll just put it that way. The only other thing I wanted to say is not on this particular subject, but I am very curious about this because I sort of invited him to say more and he did not. But when I shared our post in the Peterborough group, Bill Kennedy also responded to that one in saying, and this is in reference to the ballot, when we talked about, we were making jokes about supervisors of the checklist and how we could ask them race-based questions. His comment is, careful, the Free Staters are taking over the voter list for nefarious purposes. And that's an interesting accusation that I would really like to know more about. Because it does sound like there's some controversy with this. All jokes aside, we made plenty of them. But all jokes aside, it seems like there actually might be an issue here, and we might actually need to include them in our debate. So more to come on that. I'd like to hear what the story or the alleged story is on this.
Unless that was also a joke. Who knows?
I bet you Bill can clear it up for us. We'll reach out to him before this episode actually comes out, and we'll find out, and we'll see what's going on. But also, the only other thing that I'll say is that, and I like to think that this will be, I think we can probably make this happen next week to come out the following week. And we've been telling him he's got to get his ass on here because of campaign season anyway. But Bill Taylor has, as you might imagine, some very, very, very strong feelings about this and would really like to come on this program specifically to talk about them. So I think hopefully we will schedule him next week to come out the week after. And because we very much welcome this, we'll continue this conversation. So
yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, was there anything else we really needed to cover this week, or should we kind of call it, given that we had the discussion at the beginning of the episode? And I think we have a full episode here.
I don't know, anything we're really neglecting in Temple, or having a quiet week over there?
I don't want to be Peterborough chauvinist again. I'm sorry, but
nothing I'm aware of. No. Oh,
we know. And
that's
also,
not
I just
true.
want to say,
Actually, there is something. That I should have been aware of maybe in September. I met the woman who works at the post office. She came from Greenville in September when the current post, what have you, retired, and she seemed very nice. I mailed some letters yesterday. Yeah, there you go. So
that's awesome.
She likes the hours
and
better.
I will also, I should also say that, from the, in our defense on the Peterborough chauvinism thing, we actually know a lot of stories about things that are going on in Temple that we just don't have permission to actually share. So if there's anybody out there who wants to come on this show and talk on the record about shit that we already know, is that we know what's going on, guys. Temple has the best drama in the Monadnock region. Man, you think our $13,000 fight is exciting. Temple has way more interesting things going on, but we have no firsthand knowledge of it. Our secondhand knowledge is private, completely off the record. We're not going to even share where it comes from or what it is. But if any of you fine Temple people would like to come on and tell stories, we'll give you a whole episode to make up for all of our Peterborough chauvinism. So that is a standing offer that I put out there. And
sorry,
the cat agrees. So on that note, guys, campaign season's underway. It's Holy Week. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Come to Brandy's event. Come and see us. Come talk to us. We'll talk to you about politics, not just art. If you corner us, you know what I mean? Come to the library. Come see Chad and Brandy. Special thanks to Chad, Sound Lord, as always. If you want, seriously, come and meet our Sound Lord. He's as nice as I make him sound. This is not a bunch of bullshit that I'm feeding you. He's really a great guy, and so is Brandy. And her art is amazing, and Chad's music is amazing. And they're coming to Peterborough from Manchester. Let's make them feel welcome, as they should. And, come out. Come see us. Come see them. It'll be a really nice time. Maybe we'll go out afterwards. Who knows? Anything's possible on Friday night in Peterborough. You know what I mean? So, Sound Lord Chad, though, studio117.net for all of your sound production needs, whatever it is that you want. Down by 10 for any of your events that you need a cover band out. Again, we can't say anything, but we're looking at possible ways to bring them to Peterborough this summer and fall. Maybe we'll get them down here for an hour-long set as part of an event or two or something like that. Who knows, guys, right? All right. Thank you for joining us, as always. Until we meet again next time, hopefully with more rancor and fun. Do what you got to do out there and take good advice. We'll see you next time.